Hello, hello, lovelies. I hope you all are having an amazing day. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Lauren, and this week I'm back with another video in my series, Lauren Talks About Random Movie Stuff. This week I am talking about yet another old slasher film. I honestly am slowly starting to get used to them, starting to appreciate them a little bit more. I get suggestions from a lot of people in my life to talk about these movies, my coworkers, my friends, people online. I get recommendations for slasher films all the time, so I feel like I just need to learn to like them. You know what I mean? Plus, when it comes down to it, slasher films really shaped where horror is today, and so, I really appreciate that aspect of it. They just make me a little bit nauseous sometimes. But today's is really not that bad. The gore is kind of on a lower end. It's not too crazy. And so today we are talking about the movie Urban Legends. Alright, you guys, just kidding. There's no S. It's just Urban Legend, and it's a 1998 slasher film, so it came out the year after I was born. Y'all do the math. So, Urban Legend was actually a movie that I had never really heard of before, but my coworker, I talked to her about all of my YouTube videos. We talked through a lot of horror stuff together because she's a big fan of horror just like I am, and she had suggested to me that I watch this movie since I had never seen it. So thank you, Tasha. I did check it out. I really liked it, and here I am to talk about it. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into my thoughts on the movie Urban Legend. So this movie starts off with one of the funniest scenes I've ever watched in my entire life. It's this girl singing the song Total Eclipse of the Heart in her car. And I don't know what made me laugh so hard at this, but I could not breathe. I was laughing so hard the first time I watched through it, right? And so this girl is the first one that's killed, and her story, unsurprisingly, is based on the old urban legend called high beams. It's also called Killer in the Back Seat. It's a really famous urban legend from North America, and I think it was also very popular in the UK. All right, so if any of you guys have listened to my now failed podcast, then you will know kind of the premise behind this story. But basically, this story is about this girl who's driving late at night, and this truck is behind her, or at least in the Alvin Schwartz version, there's a truck behind her, but some type of car. The car doesn't matter, you guys. Anyways, so this girl is driving, there's a car behind her, and this person keeps flashing their high beams at her. So she's obviously very freaked out, they're following behind her, and she gets home, she runs inside, she calls the police come down, and the guy is like, oh, there's somebody in your back seat. I was flashing my high beams so that they would get scared and they duck back down. And so there was a person in her seat the whole time. So in this movie, she goes to a gas station, and this gas station guy is trying to warn her, but she thinks that the gas station attendant is trying to kill her. And so when she gets in her car, the guy in the back seat ends up killing her. I very much expected this story to be in the movie. I personally grew up on this story. I think a lot of people in North America did. It's just something that teenagers kind of told each other, and so especially when I first started driving, I was so freaked out. And I'm gonna be honest, you guys, I still check my back seat, especially at night, every single time I get in the car. So anyways, going back to what we're talking about, the movie, right? First off, I have to say, I really appreciate the fact that this whole movie was centered on a college campus. I think that is the perfect setting for a movie that has to do with urban legends, because I can definitely vouch for the fact that when I was in college, there were ghost stories, there were urban legends about campus, there were all these stories that you heard all the time about people that had died, all these events that went down, and you just kind of never knew whether they were real or not. Like, for example, on my campus, we had this large building that had the auditorium in it. It was the big theater stage. And there was this story about this girl who had accidentally died in there. And so anytime people went in there at night, they would always talk about how they saw this ghost. And everybody talks about how they hear things, they see things. And it was just this running story on campus that this had actually happened. And there are enough aspects to it where you're like, oh, this is exactly where this happened. And if you're walking down this particular stairwell, you can see her in the mirror. And, there's enough to the story where you have to sit there and think, did this really happen? And then, of course, in any of the dorm buildings, I lived on a much older campus, and people would always say that there were ghosts in the dorm buildings, right? And just to go off on a little side tangent, we're talking about urban legends, right? So I was a resident advisor, I think my sophomore year of college. And so the resident building that I was in, we started to have some weird things happening, right? So this girl on my hall kept saying that she was hearing furniture moving in the dorm above her. And so one night I went to go check it out while I was doing rounds, and I realized nobody lived in the dorm building above her. And she kept hearing it happen. So eventually she like called me over and I heard it. I heard the furniture moving above her room, right? And I immediately went upstairs to go check it out, and I opened up the door, and this door was locked. I mean, I had to use my key to get in, and there was no one in there. Absolutely no one. I think she actually ended up filming like a whole YouTube video where she ended up getting into the door, which was funny enough because it was after I had gone to check it out and I had locked the door back. The door was supposed to be locked, but somehow when she went to go check it out, it was unlocked, so she just got in. And to this day, we don't know if somebody was moving furniture up there, like somehow they were getting in. I'm not really sure. But I'm not one to shy away from there being a ghost story, you know what I mean? Like I can fully believe that there are ghosts somewhere, you know what I mean? But anyways, all of that being said, going back to urban legends. So they also used the story of Bloody Mary in there, which I'm not really sure what they were doing because they did Bloody Mary in front of like a dorm building, which I thought was really strange because it's generally done in front of a mirror. And in the dark as well. You don't usually do it in front of like a dorm building where there's a lot of light. It was at night, but it was also just very strange to me. But of course, I never really did Bloody Mary. I know that my brother did at one point, but nothing really happened. So I don't know too much about the Bloody Mary thing. Overall, I think that they did a really good job of, again, just staying true to like the feeling of being on a college campus. Like when the girl walks in and her roommate is having sex in the same room as her, I mean, that is a real thing that happens, you guys. For those of you that don't know, have never lived in a dorm room with somebody else, that definitely happens all the time. It's kind of disturbing. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. One thing I did not appreciate about this movie is why the heck did they kill that poor dog? I understand that there is an urban legend around that, like there is a story. However, they did not have to do that. They absolutely did not, and I am so upset about it. Overall, I thought they tied up the movie really nicely. The ending was really good. I thought the twist was really cool. A lot of times I can see the twist endings coming from kind of a mile away. Like you can just kind of guess what's gonna happen. But this one, for some reason, like I didn't really know until the very end. Like her friend was in the house yelling and like acting like she was scared and everything. And I heard her screaming and I was like, oh, it's obviously her friend. Like that's when it hit me. But like before that point, I had no clue. Overall, I really, really liked this movie. I thought it was a nice, classic slasher film. I really like the incorporation of the urban legends because it does kind of teach you a little bit about some of the more popular ones. And I thought all of the actors did a really, really great job. The one thing I will say about this movie, though, is that I think there could have been a little bit more investment into the characters themselves. Because, you know, when the killer was going after people, it was hard for me to feel invested and, like, scared for them because I didn't know anything about their characters and who they were. It was almost just like, okay, here's this character, and in the next scene, you know, they're gonna die. So the only characters that I really, like, had any investment into were the three main characters. And even Brenda, I didn't really care about that much until the end when her story finally came out. But again, the movie as a whole was really, really good. I would definitely recommend that you watch it if you haven't already. And that is all I really have to say today. I know that this one was a little bit shorter than the videos that I normally do. But like I said, my coworker suggested this to me, so I thought that I'd look into it and just do a short little video, kind of get back into it. The holidays got me really, really busy, and I have been just kind of resetting since then. Not to mention, just a little quick life update, you guys. I had another job interview, and this one went much better than the last one, and I did in fact get an offer, so I will be starting a new job soon. So I've been busy with a job interview, with the holidays, with cleaning up after the holidays. And so I'm just trying to ease back into doing these videos again because I really do love doing them. I was thinking about next time trying something a little bit different. I know I keep talking about my favorite horror movie. I would love to give it a little rewatch, but I was thinking it might be fun because I love watching movie reaction videos on YouTube. That's like one of my favorite things to watch, about possibly doing a movie reaction, still kind of reviewing it, I guess. But just doing like a reaction of me rewatching it after, a long time. I haven't watched it in a while. But yeah, let me know if that's something you guys would be interested in. Even if you aren't, I might still do it, but I would just love to know that you guys might want to see that. I don't know. Anyways, if you liked this video, then please give it a thumbs up. As always, if you have any movie suggestions or anything that you want me to talk about, please leave it in the comments below. I am working on some of the things that you guys have suggested, so just keep sending them to me. If you are a fan of horror/thriller stories, that is all I talk about, so definitely hit that subscribe button. And also, if you care about getting any like behind the scenes or any updates on like things that I'm putting out, my Instagram is linked in my bio below. A lot of it is like personal things going on with me, but I do post some updates on my story as well a lot of the time. Anyways, I hope you all have an amazing rest of your week. Be safe, wear a mask, and watch a horror movie this week because you deserve a little bit of a thrill. I will see you guys soon. Bye!